It is once again an exciting GHL AI day today. HighLevel has doubled down on AI today with the early beta release of the Agentic Builder. It's an AI builder that lives and breathes inside each GHL subaccount. I would expect this to be a project that never has a conclusion, meaning it will never be one that is completely finished and done, because there's a lot of plans for this on the drawing board. I know there's been a lot of buzz about this release, and I wanted to give you a quick behind the scenes tour of this amazing feature set. Let's take a quick look into my sub account as we'll take a tour around this builder. As you first get into the sub account, you can see there's a new addition here. This is normally where your voice AI and your conversational AI would be housed, where you're going to create agents as you normally would see in your sub account. Here we have Agent Studio. This is a new addition. So we're going to go ahead and click on that. And this will bring up the Agent Studio. I cleared out some of my test agents in here today that I was testing. There's an important message that pops up. It says, "Welcome to the new Agent Builder experience. You can now create multiple agents for the same location." We can create the agent here, or we can create the agent on the upper right hand side. There's another new thing that if you're not paying attention, you may miss it. So this is to create one from scratch, which we're going to do in one moment, but I want you to pay particular attention to this one here on the right. It says you can import a pre-configured agent from a JSON, which we haven't seen in the past, perfect for migrating agents between environments or pre-built agent templates. So we can do a JSON import here. So I'm going to go ahead and start with this one and creating a new one. I'm going to name this GHL test. And then you can give this a description here if you like. This one just says a custom agent built from scratch. You get the idea. So we come into here, and then you see this is what they're considering to be the canvas. So this is where we can build our drag and drop agents. If you notice, there's going to be a start tile here automatically because we're in the staging mode. That's where you'll see the start tile. You can zoom in on this. So you can do some keystrokes. You can zoom in. You have zoom on the bottom. You have zoom out as well. You could center if you'd like to do that. You can shrink it back down and you drag with your hand around. You have a lock and you have an undo. So those are some critical features. If you are paying attention to my screen, you see this thing is auto saving in the upper hand right side. So there's my start, and then I can go ahead and expand the sidebar. This is super critical. You're going to see a lot of tools here, and I would expect nothing less than HighLevel to expand this tool set in the future. So you have a language model processing node, which we'll go over. We have an API call node, huge. Knowledge-based node, which again is huge. And then one of the ones that I really are paying particular attention to is this MCP node, which we'll talk about that in a few minutes. And then we have our web search node, so we can go out and search the web and get some live data. We can export, and we can also hook up APIs here as well. So we'll go through each one of those. If I wanted to export, I can export the JSON, and I can bring it into another account. I showed you earlier where that would be done. And it would save that, and you can import it into another agent or share it. So the API, I have my API docs, and here's all the integration information for the API. So let's go ahead and go back to the nodes. Let's take a quick peek at some of these nodes. You're going to drag those in. I can rename them by clicking here, and if I want, I can go ahead and configure the tool. So at this point, I just click here and I can enter the data in for this particular tool. So I can search using an LLM and give it a prompt. I can say, listen, let's enrich this prompt, meaning let's use AI to help prepare and deliver the answer to this specific node. And then I can do runtime variables. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. And I can go ahead and save this. So I'm going to say sample prompt just to get us through here. And I can go ahead and save that. So then what we'll do is we can put a connector in place. I can drag this around. You also see this, it's called a new edge. It's almost acting like a switch. So I can go ahead here and I can enter a connection, and I can say this has to match these conditions, almost like an if else in a workflow, which you guys are pretty familiar with. I can continue to add to this. And in here, you're going to see I have a string. text and a condition. So that is how that works. Like I mentioned, you can rename these. I can say, listen, this is going to be the start, or you can name it any naming convention that you like. So then, as I mentioned, it's auto saving on the upper right. The next one will be the API call. So I can say, let's go out and do API calls. Same exact thing. I come in here, I can rename it. I can come here and edit it. And I can do the same thing. I can enrich, I can call an API and enter any API that I would like. The next one would be a knowledge base. Rename it. I can go in here and have my knowledge base all preloaded. The next one, which I'm really excited about, I think you're going to be very impressed with this. This says MCP tool, which everybody has been messing around with the HighLevel MCP. This one, however, is a little bit different. This allows you to enter any MCP and connect it to this agent. Huge, huge, huge feature. Well thought out and greatly done by the development team. And then you have your web search node. Same thing, name it, or I can click it and I can enter my web search. So I can go out and grab data. And then I can piece together in any flow that I would like. I can move my hand and just keep this canvas going and going. The next thing, variables. So let's look at these variables. I have global variables. That means it's going to be used throughout the operation. Maybe it's an API key as a great example. So I can click this. Look, it says API key. I can enter that value. If I don't put something in here, it's never going to let me out of here. So I just disconnect that and now I can exit out. Same thing, input variables. So input variables are huge. It's kind of like a custom field. So I can start grabbing data. And then I have runtime variables. So runtime variables extract runtime variables from within your LLM nodes. So if the agent asks something, I can extract that data. The next thing I wanted to show you would be the test area. So I can go ahead and debug in here. I can see if there's errors. I can go ahead and communicate with the bot. So if I click here, you're going to see test and it'll say a conversation. Nothing's here yet, so it's not going to do much. We can talk back and forth, and look, we can go ahead and communicate, and we can see our entire log because I have all these nodes, so it's registering on the console, and I can troubleshoot right here in the builder. That's pretty big. The next thing is up here, I didn't show you this is where we have agents in staging. I can have them in draft and I can have them in production mode. Production mode obviously means they're live. So that's how that works. I can go back here and I can clone the agent. I can edit the agent. And when it says edit flow in canvas means I'm going right back to the builder. That concludes my overview. We're going to dive in this thing real deep. And I'm sure I'll be speaking with you guys again, and I really appreciate you taking the time to watch. Hats off to the development team. They did an amazing job, and I expect nothing less than this thing to be over the top, perfect, and then feature after feature added to this wonderful tool. I hope you guys like it, and as always, if you need anything, you can hit me up in the community.